In today's vlog, we're going to cover our move from the UK to Virginia. We're going to cover my first job, our first houses, and the lessons we learnt on the way.
Yep.
Are we at the end or are we at the start? 129 beats per minute from my heart. Anywhere with you is where I long to roam. Night or day, I'm taking you all the way. 'Cause my heart screams, let me carry you home.
Hey up, Theme Park Bazza and...
This is Bassa.
And welcome to Charlottesville, Virginia. Yes, we arrived here last night. We lived in this town from 2005 until 2020. And it's a little bit, we're going to get rain today, so we've got our brollies with us. We're going to do a little walk and talk today and sort of give you a refresh and an update on our move here to the USA, because this is where we moved to, isn't it? Brought back a lot of memories coming here last night, driving around these old roads again.
Yep.
And seeing the old town. And today we're going to walk around and show you our first three houses. Yeah, we lived in. We didn't own them, but we lived in. We own one of them. But so let's get walking. So we're a little bit about Charlottesville. Charlottesville was founded in like the 1600s, 1700s, and was named after Queen Charlotte, who was married to, is it Henry III? William III, I think.
Was it George III?
Could be George, one of the third kings. Yeah, we had loads of kings in England. So I was married to George, and how did we get here, I guess is the question. So taking you back a bit, in 2000, I started working for a company based in North America called Mountain Systems, based in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I was their #1 employee, wasn't I, Max? I keep saying that.
#1.
I was the only employee.
Yeah.
So we set up a thing where I was their, I guess, their technical sales guy. They manufactured or created some MES software, manufacturing execution software, stuff that goes into factories that makes food and beverage, quality, efficiency, does track and trace for recalls and stuff like that. And I was like the technical sales guy for that. And then in 2003, we got bought by General Electric, or GE Fanuc as it was then for our group. And GE is General Electric and Fanuc was Fanuc Robotics. And in 2005, after we got bought, because I was charging all over Europe, wasn't I?
All the time.
All the time, always away from home, 5 days a week. It was very tiring. And in 2005, a job offer came up to move to the USA to be the global product manager for that MES software called Prophecy. And we'd had a few offers to come to the US, hadn't we?
Yeah,
But
about 3 or 4.
And then in 2005, an offer came. We'd had offers to come to the US before, hadn't we?
Yeah.
But not really taken them up. And in 2005, a job offer came in. And like a lot of things, a catalyst for a lot of these things, there was a life event. We had a friend of the family, young friend, who passed away from cancer. And that was kind of a catalyst for us, wasn't it? To
flicked a switch, didn't it?
Flicked a switch for you to say, okay,
Let's go.
you know, life is short. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Let's go. So we came over here with GE Fanuc, and they flew us to 2 locations. The location they wanted me to move to was actually in Foxborough, Massachusetts, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which was the software headquarters, which made a lot of sense as I was going to be the software product manager, even though the developers weren't there. But the other place they brought us to was to here, Charlottesville, Virginia, and they flew us over for a week, didn't they?
Yeah, it was great.
Let us come over, go to both locations, try them out. And there's a couple of things about Charlottesville that appealed to us. One was its beauty and its countryside, and even, you know, it does feel like the UK in a lot of
There's a lot of trees.
a lot of trees and a lot of twisty. I put some views in here while I'm talking of the roads in. Lots of twisty roads. If you have a nice little sporty car, it's nice to drive around here, isn't it? So it does feel a lot like the UK. It's also cheaper than Massachusetts, because that was like near Boston.
Yeah.
And also you got less snow here, though you still got snow.
It still got snow, but it was a lot less than
A lot less
Boston.
than it would have been up there. And we just thought this was a better place to bring up the family, because Ryan and Chloe were
Ryan was 13.
13 and...
Chloe had just turned 9.
9 was it? 13? I can't remember.
Yeah.
13 and 9 when we brought them here. So, you know, we wanted somewhere where they could be brought up in the school area. So we agreed that, when was that, Max? When they flew us out? It was like June
It
time?
was end of June, beginning
Job
of
offer
July.
came in like May, June time. We came out in July, signed the contract in like August,
Yeah, then we moved.
and we moved here
November.
didn't we? Just around Thanksgiving time that we came here. So it was pretty quick. And we moved as a family over here. And GE were pretty, well, the lady in HR was amazing, wasn't she, Vicky?
Amazing.
Vicky was amazing, the way she organised everything to make it easy for us. So
We had to do nothing, basically.
we had to do nothing, yeah. I mean, they organised, obviously we had visas. We came over on L1 visas, which was like an inch of paperwork. We had lawyers. Part of the deal was I had to stay for like 5 years if they were going to pay for it to come over here. But I came on a visa, but we did land here as American citizens, didn't we? When we came off the, well, not
American
citizens,
citizens.
as L1, but we were paying taxes, I should say, American taxes. We were taxed as American citizens. So we came here on an L1 visa. She organised all that. They found a rental house for us over here for the first 6 months.
Yep.
They furnished that house for the first month. They gave us a rental car for a month.
Yep.
When we got over here with the kids, they had some, what do you call them?
I don't know what you call them.
Well, they like helped us get set up. They took you
There
to
is
the
a-
school, didn't they? And
yeah,
get the vaccinations and everything.
Vaccinations, they took us, because we didn't have cars at that time,
No.
obviously, because we just moved here. So they came, picked us up, dropped us off at the schools, and the kids had to go in and look around and everything like that. So as also they did with like the inoculations,
Yep, get all the jabs.
shots and stuff, all the jabs they needed to go to school over here, 'cause
Yeah.
that they hadn't had in England.
Yep.
So they sorted all that out and took us to all those appointments. So yeah, it was.
They really looked after us to bring us
Really?
over. And even the dog, they flew the dog over a month after we got here, didn't they?
2 weeks.
2 weeks was it? Yeah,
2
they took
weeks.
him down from Barnoldswick to Heathrow to cleaned him and put him on a crate and flew him over British Airways, didn't they?
He had his own passport.
His air ticket was more expensive than ours.
It was, yeah, one way.
One way. to
Going
come
back,
Yeah.
what was that? 2005,
Here.
and it was nearly £900
Yeah,
one way then.
yeah.
So
So it's part of a whole relocation package that they did for us, but they really looked after us. But it's funny, we had another friend who came over from England as well with the FANUC side of the business with a different HR person, and basically they just gave him a check and said, okay, you sort everything out.
yeah,
And just gave him a chunk of money and said, you've got to organise all getting over here. And his was a lot more stressful.
yeah.
Then
But
I
it was
was-
only 6 months after.
Yeah, it was only 6 months after. So we were very lucky to come over here. And I say, we picked Charlottesville. We didn't know, we'll explain as we go, what we learned. Never lived in America, never lived in the countryside. A lot of things that we learnt about living in America. Number one being, as we've mentioned before, we had no credit history when we got here. Because we didn't have bad credit, we didn't have good credit, we had no credit. So we couldn't get a credit card, could we?
Nope.
So we had to buy cash for the first car. Somebody actually asked me on one of the posts, if you're coming to America, moving from England, what would you think for cash you need? And I always said now, you need at least sort of a year's worth of cash, because you don't get your credit history for the first year till you start renting. And even though I worked for GE, I couldn't even get a GE credit card. They wouldn't give me one, would they? So, you know, you're really struggling. If for car loans, when we got a car, you know, they were all doing like 2 and 3% back then. 17 they wanted for me because I didn't have any credit history. I think I finally got one through work, paying out through the
It came straight out.
credit
wages,
union at the
didn't
work. It came straight out my wages, and I got it at 7 or 8%. So we paid that thing off pretty quick, didn't we? I think in 2 years, because it was crazy money. But where we're walking now, we're walking through Forest Lakes, which is the kind of area that they found. We're going to take you now to the first rental that we went into for the first 6 months. We made a mistake as well. The only mistake we made was not thinking about after 6 months.
Yeah.
We had so much going on, and yeah, unfortunately, about 2 months before the rental went out, I called and contacted the person. Like, oh no, I've already rented it again. So we then went into panic mode because we had to
Find somewhere
find
else.
somewhere else
In this area.
in this area, because the kids were in school. And you know, when you come here, the areas where you live, just like the UK, are kind of tied into the school areas, aren't they?
Yeah.
So we wanted to not disrupt the kids again, and so that led to a whole other sort of panic
Yeah.
time. Though we were lucky again. I'll talk about that when we show you the second house. Let's walk up here and let's head towards the first house that GE rented for us, and we stayed in the first 6 months. Oh, the other thing as well is why I say a year's amount of money is you also got to factor in, if you got a house in the UK, ours didn't sell for a year, did it?
No, no.
And you're going to be paying a rent here to rent a house, so you have to have enough money to be able to cover your UK house till it's sold and rent here. That's why I say you need a year's worth of money, and you also need to factor that in as far as rental and cash, as I say, because don't expect to get a credit card. Because even though it was the same bank,
Yeah, they won't
HSC
give us
Bank,
one. It did not transfer.
it
did
didn't transfer. It was like you have a bank here and a bank there, and no, it didn't transfer.
They don't
But
recognise each other.
we were lucky though, because we had an Amazon account in the UK, and that was the only place we could get a credit card. Amazon USA
Yeah,
gave us a credit card, and that became a lifesaver.
it did.
Because
We
you put
spent
everything on that
in it.
card, and it got us, putting money on and paying it off gets you the credit history.
Yeah.
So that got us the history that allowed us to get better credit, lower interest rates. And so by the time we did buy a house, and a couple of years later, we could get a mortgage at a good rate.
Yeah.
But I would always rent when you come here, because you don't know the lay of the land. You don't know the country. You don't know where you want to be. But it's a challenge with kids. Our children were a little bit old to come over, I think.
Ryan
don't you?
was a bit old. Chloe's fine.
Chloe's fine, yeah. I guess once they get to above 10 or 11, it's hard for them, because
Yeah.
they've already made friends. Well, they made
Well, we
friends.
lived in a small town as well,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they were like, they'd all grown up together, aren't they?
Yeah.
With his friends and everything from being babies. So when you get to 13,
That's something we liked about Charlottesville. It wasn't quite as big as the other towns. It was about 160,000 people. But the big thing about it is, you may know it, it's a university town, isn't it? Mm-hmm. UVA, University of Virginia, is here. Founded by Thomas Jefferson. There was 2 presidents here. But there's a lot of money in the town as well.
yeah.
A lot of affluence in the town. So it's a big town, but it's got a small town feel.
Yeah.
As
Well, it's
Charlottesville.
a city. It's actually a city.
A city, yeah. But it doesn't feel like that when you go downtown.
No.
That's what we liked about it as well, because we came from a small town.
I know. I was like, forget that.
I just like
hill.
to say, Florida is flat, Virginia isn't,
It's not.
and we're getting out of breath. And we only worked the first half mile of this 3-mile loop that we're going on. But we're going to come down here, and our first house is just down here on the corner. We'll take you down and we'll have a look at it. And as we approach the house, one thing that made me laugh is, so you're going to America, you're living on Easy Street.
Yeah.
Now you're in America. Have a see the name of the street we actually ended up living on to start with for the first rental. It's called Easy Lane.
Yeah.
And the first house that we went to is this one here on the end.
Can't.
We'll insert some pictures if we find them as well of the house, but this is where we were on the end, and we learnt a lot of things in this house, didn't we? We
A
learnt
lot of
about
things.
how to use a wood fireplace.
Yeah.
And what, if you don't open that damper, how it smokes the house out.
Yeah.
Which we did once or twice. This wall wasn't here before, was it?
They built that not
We had
long
to pick up
after
all
we-
the leaves and everything. We also learnt about the trash collection here. This house also has a basement. Most houses here in Virginia have a basement. There was a tyre swing out there on the back, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And there's no fences. That's the other thing. A lot of these houses don't have fences around them. You just open it. Oh, there's a tyre swing. It's still
Yeah,
there.
it's still there.
It's still there. We had and the basketball things here on the drive.
Yeah.
It's in the trees. You here, see it there? The
Yep.
pole. That's where the basketball hoop, where we got them playing basketball. And this was the area. This was the neighbourhood. We had some friends just down here. They'd play out around the area. And it was really nice and rural.
Yeah.
And space. The one thing you get is space in Virginia, isn't it? But yeah, as I say, you'll see some pictures from us. We had the first 6 months we were here, we had family out all the time, didn't
Yeah.
we? Came to stay with us. We were the vacation destination around here. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. We brought our first cars there
Yeah.
when we were on that drive. And it was handy. For me, work is about 10, 15 minutes away. But I still had to get a car to get there, didn't
Yeah.
I?
You can't walk.
You can't walk down there.
But it's 10-15 minutes drive.
Yeah. But what you can walk to is the schools. So come with us and we'll show you where the schools are. So that first address was 1700 Easy Lane. And it was walking distance. It wasn't really walking distance to a lot of things. Another thing we noticed, it was like one place about half a mile away you could walk to. But we learnt very quickly that America's not walkable.
No.
You do need a car to get around. That was the other shock.
Yeah.
Coming from a small town where you could walk to everything. That, yeah, there weren't a lot of places that were walkable. But like I say, one thing that was the schools.
Yeah. So that's how.
So
this
Max
is how far.
Max would leave the house there in the morning with the dog
Yeah,
and the kids, and we'll show you in real time the walk to the school. The school systems here, Max, they have like 3, don't they? They have. So what is the school system here, Max?
They go from pre-K
Yeah.
to middle school, to elementary school, then to middle school, then to high school.
Right.
So I think the pre-K was 5.
Yeah.
Elementary was like 5 to. It's a long time ago. I can't remember.
No.
We'll have to really insert it in here, won't it?
Yeah. But the fact is that over here, where the school buses are, is the elementary school and middle school that the kids went to. So you come down here, wouldn't you, and
Yeah.
take this crossing every day
Yeah.
to take the kids over there. Rollies have come out already. Didn't last very long, did it? But over there is the, as we were saying, is the schools. Is it Sunderland schools?
This is Sunderland.
Yeah, and this is
No,
where-
this is Hollymead.
that's Hollymead.
That's Sunderland.
That's Sunderland. Yeah. So they'd start in that one
Yeah.
and move into that one before they went up to high school at.
Albemarle High School.
Was that 16 to high school? 16 to 18?
No, 12 is it?
Maybe 12 to high school.
No, not to high school.
That's what I say.
13 is it? Ryan was in middle school for only 6 months.
Right.
So it'd be about 13, 14, depending on
They go to
your
high school.
birthday.
So it's like there's high schools in England then?
Yeah.
Yep. So how many times did you make this walk, Max?
Quite a lot. Well, they used to have a crossing guard, so I just used to
Yeah, like
leave them. They used to go across and I used to carry on up that side with the dog.
yeah, take the dog for a walk in the morning. One thing we are glad of, if you've been watching the vlogs, is we had a choice which days we would come here and which days we would go to Busch Gardens and ride the roller coasters. 2 days in each, and we did the Busch Gardens first, didn't we? And I'm glad
Yeah.
we did, because it would have been a bit of a washout if we had been there. Well, the other thing we learnt as well about the US, well, maybe it's particular about Virginia, is pedestrians have right of way. And I don't know if it's the polite people in Virginia, but if you even look like you're going to walk across the road at any point, all the traffic stops,
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
it? You don't stop when you're walking.
It's not Sunderland anymore, it's Lakeside.
Oh, they've changed the name
They've
of it now.
changed the name.
Lakeside Middle School. Interesting. There you go. That's what happens when you move away, Max.
Yeah?
So we're now going to walk up the hill where Max used to take the dog. We're going to cut through a bit of a forest area, and we're going to take you to the second house, because going back to that story, like I say, we got in that house for 6 months, and then we had to find somewhere very quickly, didn't we?
Yes.
And we were very lucky. We found a guy called Mike, I think his name was.
Mike, yeah.
He was he had lots of rental properties
Yeah.
around the
first
area.
one did not work, did it?
No, he took us to a few round here, but the first one was on the back of a railway line.
Yeah,
wasn't
the
it?
railway was right outside your back
And then we
garden.
walked past the other one, actually, when we were talking before. It was on this main road, and it was too small,
Yeah.
wasn't it, for us and the kids? But we did actually end up getting, luckily, getting a new place with him, and we rented that, I believe, for a year.
It was a year.
We put it down for a year, so that we're now, when we moved in November, so we're talking June 2006,
Yeah.
when we were extracted
From
from that
Easy Lane.
house and moved into this one. Well, the other thing we learnt about here that first year was the winters, the crazy winters. Do you remember having that ice storm?
Oh my God, that's when the furniture finally arrived.
Yeah, the furniture. How long did it take the furniture to come from England?
Month?
Yeah, I'll say you got.
6 weeks?
By the way, you have to factor that in, renting furniture. You've also got to factor in buying all new electrical stuff, because it's 110 volts here.
Yeah.
So your TVs, computers, unless the dual voltage, which may be more nowadays, will not work. You have to buy new stuff. So many times we're going to Target,
Oh, we
Walmart,
lived there, basically.
for TVs, to keep the kids' PlayStations.
First thing we bought,
Yeah,
PlayStation.
and inflatable chairs,
And
I think.
inflatable chairs
Yeah,
for the kids. No, they were bean bags.
Bean bags, that was
Beanbag
it, yes,
chairs
yeah.
for the kids.
yeah. Oh, I can't remember that. So you do need to factor that in as well. But that storm, that first ice storm, was terrible, wasn't it? If you remember.
Well, we'd never experienced
we had like
anything
we had like
it.
a ninja. All the power cables came down, because all the power here in this area is above ground.
Yeah.
And when the ice came, one thing Virginia has is lots of trees. And what happens when you get ice on trees? It weighs them down, they break the limbs, and they actually start hitting the power lines. So we had power outages, so we had to learn how to use the fire.
Yeah.
If you remember, I had to go to Lowe's or Home Depot with Ryan.
No, it was Harris Teeter.
Was
I
it
think.
Harris Teeter?
It was
To get
Harris
some
Teeter.
wood
Yeah.
on a Sunday, and it was closed.
Yeah.
But
No,
they
it
did
was Sunday evening, I think. It had closed early.
They did have wood outside, but it was closed.
Yeah.
So I think I traumatized the kids in the fact I just piled it in the back of the car and said I'll
Yeah.
come back on Monday and pay. I don't think Ryan's ever recovered from
He is
that,
not,
has he?
no.
He still thinks I'm a thief. Just take me brolly down 'cause we're under the trees. So he's never recovered from that, hasn't Ryan, has he?
Nope.
No. Sorry, Ryan. And we have to.
We
That's
did
why
go back and pay for it.
we did go back and pay. That's what we learnt about putting the damper on,
Yeah.
because it just smoke came back into the house. We also learnt about barbecues. In England, you use charcoal ones. Just get a gas one.
Yeah, it's
That's what we
easier.
did, and put it on out here, which are relatively cheap. Insurance, was not too bad. We both had to take our driving tests again, didn't we? You could have it for a year, I think, but you had to take a driving test if you were going to stay here. So that was a bit weird. I was 40 when I came here. You were 45, and
I don't think so.
maybe not. But then we had to take our driving test again, which, well, let's just say I passed first time.
Computer was wrong.
Computer said no. It wasn't that hard. The computer bit was hard, but the driving test was going in a circle basically, wasn't
Yeah.
it? So it wasn't that bad.
Actual physical driving.
Actual physical driving. So yeah, it wasn't. So that we had to factor in as well. But you know, cost of living was a lot cheaper here
Yeah.
than the UK back then. So it was a lot more value, bang for your buck here, as far as quality of life. And working for an American company, quality of life was really good for me because I could work 9 till 5 and finish, or 8 till 5 and finish. Whereas in the UK, I was working 2 until 10 at night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To stay on their hours. This
When
was
you were home.
Yeah, when I was home. So it was a lot better quality of life. This was our walk every day. So whichever house, actually, when we moved away from this area to the last house, we still used to drive here and park
Yeah.
up where we've parked up today and walk around this area because it's
We
a
did.
beautiful area, Forest Lakes. It was set up in like the late 90s and it's a beautiful walk, lots of walking trails. And you can see, we're in June now, but Virginia's just beautiful, just beautiful. Just don't come in Christmas time and you've got to dig it out.
Unless you like the snow.
Unless you like the snow, yeah. You do have to be aware with the schools as well. Did they not have to do some kind of like acceptance test to go into the schools?
You had to, it was called the English. You had to be able to speak reasonable English. Obviously, it was not a problem for us because we came from England.
Right, Yorkshire. Near
Yeah.
enough.
But there's a lot of different cultures here from all over the world.
Yeah.
So they had to, was it an ESOL?
Okay.
Not a class, but they had to basically go and learn
Yeah.
how to speak basic English if you couldn't. So to get into the schools as well.
But what that meant is because it's a university town and there's lots of different people and cultures here, is a lot of the supermarkets you could get English food and stuff,
Yeah.
couldn't you? Because
Yeah.
because it was multicultural, which is what we liked about this as well. It does remind me of England though when you're walking around here,
Yeah.
apart from all the traffic and everybody's on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
And everybody's in a car that's far too big for an English road.
Yeah.
So we're going to cut around this corner and get away from the road and go through the forest.
That's Hollymead Lake.
We used to take the doggy.
We used to take him down Hollymead Lake as well.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. You have to go down and cross back over again.
Yes.
So just to let you know about the temperatures. You all right?
Yeah.
So just to let you know about the temperatures as well. We said it was cold in the winter time. The Blue Ridge Mountains. Again, I should have done a little bit on positioning of Charlottesville. We are like half an hour from the Blue Ridge, which are beautiful. We're 2 hours south of Washington DC, and we're 2 hours from the beach, from Virginia Beach, and from the roller
No,
coasters.
4 hours.
4 hours from the beach, 2 hours from the roller coasters,
Yeah.
2.5 hours from the roller coasters. And even though it's still classed as the south because it's south of the Mason-Dixie line. But weather-wise, we say the winters, we would get what? We could get a foot, 2 feet,
Yeah.
3 feet of snow easily. And the summers, it can be hotter than Florida.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's to do with the way the land is here, but the humidity goes crazy.
Yeah.
And you're up above the hundreds. In fact, today it's 87.
Yeah.
And in Orlando, I know they're having a warm spell, it's like 94, 95. But it's still 87 here today, and we're 1,000 miles
humidity
further
as well.
north. Yeah, so we are puffing a bit, not just because we're because we're unfit, because it's really hot and it's really sticky. So you've got to bear that in when wherever you move to somewhere in the USA. Look for the climate, you know, what works for you. We like the seasons here, the sort of the spring and the autumn, when it was, 70s and beautiful. And we'd walk out here, though we've got a bit of an overcast day today, 90% of the time it's blue skies and sunshine, isn't it? And that was what we really liked about living here. Nice place to bring up kids, very friendly. We walk down the street, everybody says hello to you.
Yep.
You know, it's very, very friendly. Right, we're going to go across here into the dark forest. Don't look back
As you brave.
as
the
you
dark-
brave the dark forest. I bet it is dark today with all the tree canopy
Yeah.
cover. And see if we can get over to the next house. Well, critter-wise around here, you've got to watch out for ticks if you're taking the dog in the long grass, because
Yep.
ticks are a thing. Snakes, you've got to know the snakes, the venomous ones. You've got to know the spiders, because you're in the countryside. And bears. We'll talk a bit about black bears. They weren't really a problem around here. But when we get to our last house, oh yeah, they're a problem. We were speaking to some of our neighbours last night, and they're still a problem.
There's still a problem. They still like to drag the bins into the forest.
Yes. So this is these are the walks that we love to go on. Bring you back memories, Max?
Oh yeah,
With Podgy?
with Podge.
Can I get up here when it was frozen?
I can see him walking down by the side of us.
Yeah. Well, he didn't walk down by the side. He went
Well,
zig,
zig and
and
zag,
zag, and zig and zag, and try and trip you up. Then stop and look at you.
Yeah.
You have to get another pooch, Max.
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I remember walking this on ice. It was
Yeah,
not,
on ice you could never
it
get
was
up here,
not
could you?
fun.
Yeah, you had to go on the twigs at the side. And if there was a squirrel, my God, that dog would be
mental.
mental for squirrels, wouldn't he? Which they were all
Lots
over
of
the place.
squirrels. Ugh.
Go on, Max, up the hill. Keep fit. Let's get your steps in today. I honestly can't even remember where this brings us out. But I know it brings us out somewhere
I
near the
do.
other house. Because you used to, when we lived at the other house, this was the path you used to walk down.
Yeah, this was a quick walk for Podge, just down to the end
Yep.
there and back.
Yeah, it brings us into the top near the house, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
top corner of the estate.
So yeah,
Oh,
going
there's
back.
a deer. There's a deer.
Where?
There.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we have a deer. That was another thing we should have mentioned. Deers used to be, we come home at night in the other house and they'd just be sat on the drive.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the
There's the other one.
there's the babies.
In the mud.
It's not even the mud, it's dry.
It is not.
Oh, he's hopping. Reminds me I'm getting hungry. No, I'm only kidding. So yeah, there's a lot of wildlife around here, right on your doorstep. But the deers, yeah, they just stand on the drive at night and you'd sit there and you blast your horn. They just look at you like,
Why are you on my
why are
land?
you on my land? In fact, didn't we find a fawn, a baby fawn by
Yes,
the
we
house?
did once.
You didn't want to touch it so you don't get your smell and scent onto it. But we found it there. We didn't know if it'd been abandoned by its mother, did we? Oh yeah, there they are. Hello. Hello.
Obviously quite used to people.
Yeah, it's quite tame around here. Keeping their eye on us. Yeah, we found a baby fawn and we didn't know if it had been abandoned by its mother, so we kept an eye on it, but the mother came back, didn't she?
Yeah, about 24 hours. didn't she?
Yeah. We didn't have to call out the RSPCA or whatever it's called out here.
Wildlife.
Wildlife, is it?
Yeah.
Max knows. Okay. Is it doing good for you, this?
Yeah, feeling it.
I think we'll be going for Starbucks after this before we take to the third house because we'll need to, well, get some AC, I
Yeah.
think. Storms, as I say, I mentioned the storms, lots of tree damage. One thing I learnt a lot about here was taking trees down, managing trees, because Virginia is full of trees. And the last house we'll take you to, we had 2 acres of land,
Yeah.
a lot of trees, and we had to manage that. So we have one last climb up the top of the hill to knacker us out before we get to the street where we used to live from 2006 until 2007.
Yeah.
June 2006 till June 2007. The other reason we chose Charlottesville is the house prices, because it was a risk. Do we stay? Do we go? And we knew if we could buy a house here, and it was about the same price as a house in the north of England,
Yeah.
so we could sell it and move back.
Have enough money to
Have
do
enough
that.
money to move back. If we bought something in Texas, like bought a big ranch for a third the price, you'd never be able to sell and move back. So we wanted to buy a house that was an equivalent price to the UK. So we had an exit plan, should we need it. And we knew after the first 18 months we weren't going back.
Yeah.
So that didn't matter then. That's something else to consider if you're thinking of moving here. Okay. And we walk out onto the next street that we lived on, which of course being Brits, what was it called, Max?
English Oak Circle.
English Oak Circle, where we got the rental. And just down this hill here is where we were for the next year. Other thing you notice as well, everybody had these mailboxes outside and everybody puts their names.
It was part of the HOA.
You have to have your mailbox, you have to have your name on it, you have to keep it painted. A lot of these houses have, we say, homeowners associations, so you won't have to put your washing out. You've got to have your grass cut regularly. They keep an eye on things. But, it's for the betterment of the neighbourhood. But we lived up here, top of this hill, for a year. And this is where the yellow school bus used to come up here. That's when the kids started going on a school bus then.
Yeah.
Chloe and Ryan to get them to school. We had Jackie came over, friends came over and stayed with us here as well. One thing about these big communities, they also have swimming pools and tennis courts.
Gym sometimes.
Gyms, they used to come and then they go and use the communal pool.
Yeah.
Not normal to have swimming pools here
No.
in Virginia, unless you've got a really, really big house. But yeah, you have availability to use them when you're staying in the community itself. So just down here is the house that we used to stay in, and here we are at 1934 English Oak Circle with the blue shutters. Very nice house. Again, it was a 3-bedroom, got a big garage like a lot of them, but this had a disadvantage in none of these had basements, and that made us realise if we get in a house here, we want a basement. What the advantage was though, it looked back onto a forest. Why is that an advantage? Well, you see all these wonderful green things on the trees, they all fall.
In the fall.
In the fall or the autumn, and you got to get rid of them. When we were at the original house on Easy Lane, we had to bag
bags and
bags of leaves. Because you're onto a forest, you just need a blower. You just blow them and it blow the leaves into the trees. So I'm like, okay, that was another thing for a house. If you want a house, I want something with land that can blow the leaves, because it would take us days to clear the leaves up there.
And then they'd fall again.
Yeah, and then they fall again. But we did learn about basements are good, storage, especially when you've got kids, you know, it's like basement becomes a bit of a catchment. And with most people like here, they don't use the garages. It's just storage here because they don't have the basements. AC is your friend as well, because it gets really hot in the summer, as we mentioned. What else am I thinking about the houses? The other thing is, we're the only ones who walk.
Yeah.
Even today, you maybe see one or two other people out, but back even 20 years ago, it was like zombie apocalypse around here. We're Brits and we like to go out for a walk,
Yeah.
but everybody else seems to go in the car. So, yeah, that was, another American tradition of we being the crazy Brits. So there you go. This is, as we exit up the hill here, English Oaks, and head back to the car, isn't it? In the
big loop.
In the big loop. So we've probably got another half a mile to go, but that got us through to 2007, and then I can't remember when in 2007 we started looking for property. We knew we wanted to buy.
Well, we'd sold the house by then.
Yeah, the house a bit. We sold the house in England.
Yeah, I can't
a
remember
year after we got here.
Yeah.
So that would be November 2006. So then we started looking for. We had cash in the bank.
We had cash in the bank.
And we waited till Christmas because nobody sells anything at Christmas.
Yeah,
And we
I think
waited
it was
till
in
the
the
spring.
spring.
Yeah.
But we couldn't. We were still in the lease for the house till June.
Yeah.
So
But that worked out all right based on the house we got,
yeah.
which we'll show you some pictures of, which needed, guess what, a lot of work,
A lot of
another
work.
renovation, just like the one we've currently got in Orlando. But yes, so we started looking there, and we were looking again. I can't remember. We looked at quite a few different areas near schools and things, didn't we? And the one we actually found that we'll take you to was a mistake.
Yeah.
Because it had the wrong zip code, like the postcode on it.
Yep.
And we found it by mistake, and it was in a very unique position that you're going to see. But we're going to head back to the car, and then maybe get a Starbucks.
Yeah, I think we need a drink
Yeah,
after all
to
these
cool off
hills.
for a bit. But let's see if somebody else is moving out. Let's see how busy it is on these roads. Right, we're going to head back this way now, which takes us in a full circle back to where we parked the car, and then we're going to go and grab a quick coffee at our Starbucks. We used to it was tradition, wasn't it? Every Sunday, we go to Starbucks and have a drink.
Yes.
It's
Coffee in the morning.
It's now a Thursday, but
Yeah.
we're still going to go to Starbucks
Yeah.
and have a drink.
I don't think they'll remember us though.
Yeah, they used to walk. They knew what we wanted, didn't they?
Yeah, they used to just walk in and it was there for us
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, I forgot about that. Small town. Yeah, so even the bar, we used to go to the local bar near us, the Bonefish,
Yeah.
and we walk in and they'd be pouring the drinks for us before we
Yeah.
got there. But again, these were all driving. You couldn't really walk to anything from here.
No.
Beautiful neighbourhoods, the burbs, as you see in America. And there's one person out keeping fit and beautiful, but they are. There's one thing when we were looking around Orlando, we said we wanted to be walking distance to bars and restaurants and things, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because we got tired of having to drive everywhere. And the nearest supermarket, that was another shock. Nearest supermarket when we moved here.
I think Food Line's actually the closest.
Well, then we used to do your weekly shop. You'd be going, what, half an hour, 20 minutes?
To Walmart?
Yeah, from here.
No, it's about 15 minutes.
15 minutes, but it wasn't.
15, 20 minutes.
It wasn't local.
No, it wasn't.
In the hometown, where you could just pop out and get anything.
Yeah.
It was always jump in a car and drive for 15 minutes. So I guess you got to Ruckersville, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we did have like I said before, the Food Lion,
Yeah,
but it wasn't.
that wasn't great.
Not back then. I think it's better now, but it wasn't back then.
Right, there's a storm brewing as well. That's why thunderstorms are on the way. We're trying to get this filmed before the storms hit. We'll go grab a quick coffee and then head on to the next house. Well, welcome back. We went into Starbucks and the heavens opened. We've had storms for about an hour, and I think we've got about half an hour now between them. So we'll just wrap up this vlog in another beautiful part of the world. And in this section, I'll talk a little bit about my job here, when we moved here, and then what led to us getting the final house before we moved down to Orlando. So as I say, in 2005, I came over here as a global product manager for the MES software. We picked, I say Charlottesville, we mentioned the reasons before. Another reason that we picked Charlottesville is this is the global headquarters for GE Fanuc, or was at the time. So I thought there's more chance from a career perspective of being in the same building as the CEO and the CFO and all the leadership people, and being a face that they get to know rather than someone out in the sticks. And I think that paid off, because in my time here I did 4 or 5 roles. There was a couple of layoffs, like in 2008 when we had the financial crisis, and I didn't get laid off, and I'm sure to this day it's because I was a person they knew and just not a name. So there's a thing for your career. Build relationships with senior people in the company, and it does help you. And I went from being a global product manager to a global marketing manager, looking after food and beverage, consumer packaged goods, sales, again, sort of pre-sales support, going around the world, flying around the world. Then I moved in to be a global marketing manager for our hardware products, for our touch screens. And then I moved in to be something called a customer success manager, which is when people have bought the stuff. A senior customer success manager. People have brought the stuff, and I worked for GE Digital then. We moved to GE Digital, and GE Fanuc went to GE Automation, went to GE Intelligent Platforms. It sold off the Fanuc side. A lot of changes in 15, 17 years. I think I had a new boss every year.
Yeah, you did.
New manager every year. So there are a lot of changes. The other good thing about this area of Charlottesville as well is there's an airport, literally 10 minutes from here.
10 minutes.
And that was, which was good for the factory, and it was something we were looking for in a house, to be close to the airport, because I was still travelling every week, wasn't I? And actually the true story is, when we get to this last house, Maxine didn't used to set off to the airport until she could hear my plane coming in.
No, you knew what time the plane was landing. And
Yeah, because
and set off.
it basically this is Piney Mountain over here, and it basically flies right past here.
Goes on the back, doesn't it?
And in those days, everything was propellers to start with. It was only in the last sort of 4 or 5 years we had jets, so you could hear them. In fact, you used to put Maxine to sleep. The first house we showed you, you could hear the planes at night, couldn't you? The drone of them, and you used to put Maxine to sleep. Never did that for me. But no, it was a good career at GE, and I was lucky enough to get in there early in 2005 when they started a pension scheme. They canned all that at 2008. But as I mentioned in my retiring at 58 vlog, that's one of the reasons we can retire, because in another 4 years, I will be cashing in my 17 years of GE pension. Well, you don't cash it in, you get paid every month. But I will be taking those payments at the same time as Social Security kicks in. And that's the real reason we're able to retire at this younger age, was we were lucky enough to be part of that program. So where we're taking you to now is the GE factory where I worked for 15 years, this building down here. It's just north of Charlottesville off the 29. It's not longer owned by them, it's owned by Emerson now. But it's the same building. It's where I spent a lot of my career, my first days here in America, learning about America, learning about how business is done here in America, and learning how big it is. I remember that first trip I went on, they wanted me to go to, I think it was Denver. And after used to being in Europe, I'm like, oh, I'll fly out in the morning and I'll fly back in the evening. And they're like, no, because Denver's like 2 time zones away. So you learn very quickly, I should say, how big America is and how planes really become like buses. In England, a plane was a big adventure.
It was.
If you're going to a different country, you need a passport. Here it's like you're just getting somewhere to do work and then you're turning around and coming back again. And like I said in my other retirement vlog, after 15 years of doing that, I've had enough. Enough planes, enough airports, unless we're going on holiday.
Yeah, that's a different matter.
Yeah, that's a different matter. And this road we've walked many times, haven't we?
Yep.
With the dog.
Every day.
Every day we used to come down
Twice a
here with the
day.
dog. So you might be seeing, oh, hang on a minute, that means you must have lived quite close to here. Yeah, we'll show you how close. Again, it was a fluke. I mentioned it early on about the wrong zip code. We weren't looking to be this close to the office, but where we ended up buying is, well, we'll show you. It's not that far. So this was the global manufacturing site as well for the hardware for GE Fanuc, robotics and control systems. So it used to be in its heyday, there'd be about 2,000 people
Yeah, it was busy.
working here. That was down to about 1,800 by the time I left. They used to run 3 shifts, used to be very busy, but like anything in today's in the economy, things change. This company's still doing well, but it's just doing it differently now. So this every piece of hardware from here got shipped around the world, so it was a big area. And the building may look like an industrial building, and I believe it was built in the 1980s as like a military type place. Because the other thing about this area is there is a secret military base that you can not to know about.
Nobody knows
Down to the
about.
lights, turn right, just behind the petrol station. There's a secret military base, and so a lot of people here are coming from from DC and are based down here.
Yeah.
So we thought if we buy a house in this area, it's good resell. Good resell value. And actually, we did sell a house to somebody from DC, senior person, who was down here because they've got money and they can afford these things. So here is, this was I think a military building at one point, but all the time we've been here, it's been GE, Fanuc, and all through all its iterations. And my first job, I was in the corner of that building down there on the lower floor. That was my little office across from another guy called Barry, who we're meeting for lunch today. And he worked on the support side. And John Dyke and I were over there in that bottom corner. Yeah, good days.
Like a lifetime ago.
Seems like a lifetime ago. Right, so as we say, that was my office. So we'll show you how far the walk is to our house from here, which, believe me, in 2009, when was the fuel crisis? Was that after 2008? When it
Yeah.
went up to like $4 or $5 a gallon?
Yeah, it's about 2000.
He went crazy. Yeah, but guess what? I can walk to work. That's how close I am. So as another truck pulls out of the factory, just to finish up on the job story, 2017 I was reached out to by some of the people I used to work with in Mountain Systems when I was the #1 employee, who were working for a company called Factora, based out of Canada. And I thought about, taking that job. I just started that customer success manager job here. I was like setting the team up. So I wanted to make that successful. I was doing a lot of flights then over to California, wasn't I? Because the actual headquarters of the GE Group, GE Digital, was over in San Ramon, California. So I still had an office here, but I was spending half my time over in California. And then once I got that up and running and it was, ticking over, I decided to take that job. And things worked out well, as you saw in the my history when I told you about the last day at work. This is when I took you all to work with me. I don't think we ever would have, if remembering I'm an electrician from Barnoldswick, I still believe moving to America gave us more opportunities.
Oh yeah, we would
To
never
be more
get where we
successful.
are today.
I don't think that we would ever been over this point now to retire. Not saying the UK is bad, but I just don't think the opportunities were there.
No.
And I think a lot of that came from spending my time here at GE. It was a great school of learning to be hanging out with those CEOs. And actually my colleague who took me, Brent, who I started to work with in 2000, he's the one who reached out to me to go back to join Factora in 2017. He did say to me, I'd completely changed in that 15 years. I kind of evolved and was like a more rounded business person. And that's from working at GE and getting, get more skills as you go. Sales skills, marketing skills, and it all helps you understand things. And now we're at the bottom of the road where we used to live. The area is called North Pines, and this is Lonicera Way. And now we're going to get out of puff again, because this is a big hill, and we're going to go up to the top of the hill, but not far, to see our old house. Last night we went downtown and had a meal with one of our neighbours, caught up on things, didn't we?
We did.
So Jeremy and Jocelyn, thanks for hanging out with us last night and telling us all the stuff that's going on. This bit of land here on this side was owned by GE. They had like a training centre here, and now they're going to build some houses on here.
They sold it, didn't they?
Yeah, so everybody's up, doesn't know what it's going to do to this landscape. They're going to put a road on here, and these are very expensive houses. They're like 700,000.
Starting at 700,000.
Yeah, very expensive houses up here. So we don't really know how it's going to work out, and obviously some of the neighbours are a little bit concerned about that. But we'll see how we go.
They've got the plots moving now, haven't they?
Yeah, the plots are all marked out. I'm guessing a lot of these trees will come down. This is beautiful. That's Piney Mountain. So the planes come right down the side of that other side of that mountain, don't they?
Yep.
And if our kids are watching this, well, Chloe won't, but if Ryan's watching this, hopefully this will bring back some memories, Ryan. This is the house where Ryan learnt to drive a manual. His first car once he passed his test, we bought him an old Mustang,
Yeah.
which was a manual. So he learnt in an automatic, did his test in an automatic. And then the drive will show you up here. Do you remember him rolling up and down, trying to get his bike in point?
Took him
And
for a bit.
that Mustang had this huge exhaust on.
Could
And
hear him.
we could hear him coming from when he was down the bottom of the road.
All the way down there.
All the way up to, yeah, we'd open the garage door and I'd stand out there waiting for him. How did you know I was coming? Because we could hear you. So these are all big plots of land. They've all got a couple of acres. Ours had 2 acres of land. This is actually the next door neighbour to us.
Yeah.
So yeah, next house down is ours, or was ours.
That's ours.
We moved down to Florida. We rented. When COVID hit, we actually came back up here, didn't we? We drove up, and then we spent 6 months renovating the house. Well, we had renovated, getting it ready to sell.
Yeah.
We spent about $15,000. The pool liner went.
Unfortunately.
The septic system, something broke, because these houses are all on septic systems, so we learnt a lot about that, what you can, what you can't do. And also this is bear country. We were in our house once. Maxine's mum was looking out the window, and there was what? Coming down? What?
A big black bear walking down the
about
road.
300-pound bear walking down this road, all the
Front
way
of the
down
house.
here. And actually at GE, we check in the mornings, we get some warnings telling us if there were bears out and about
Yeah.
to be careful. And you couldn't put your trash cans or your bins out at night because the bears would come and open them and drag them into the forest. So not only snakes and spiders, as we mentioned earlier, bears as well. And this is a property, and we loved this from the minute we saw it.
Yeah.
It was a mistake on the zip code. We drove past it and we both looked at it and we went, wow. And this became our 2 acres of land, 5-bedroom with a base, 4-bedroom was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the basement we converted, but we didn't put a bedroom down there, did we?
No, because it had no closet.
It had no closet. No, we had a pool table down there for the kids. A lot of trees. This is where I learned to take trees down. We took a lot down here. This was very dense, but they were dying, weren't they?
Yeah.
$1,000, was it $500 a tree to take
$500
them
a
down?
tree.
So we had a swimming pool at the back. It was an in-ground pool, but was not heated. They've put a kids' play area down there. And the nearest neighbours are this house there, one through the trees there and one at the back. I mean, it was like, you're very isolated, aren't you, up here?
Yeah.
But mowing this lawn, I used to do it not as well looked after as when I did it. But how long did it take me, Max, to do that?
4 hours.
4 hours. And it's like every weekend during the summer. We'd be out there and mowing it. Some of those bushes by the house I actually pulled out with the SUV, didn't I?
Yeah.
But it doesn't change much. Painted all those windows every year because the sun used to be brutal on them. The garage was added on before we bought it, but it was a nice addition. We have the 2 parking areas there, as you see. We had our cars parked down there. We could get 2 in there, and we could get 2 in the garage as well. So we used to leave my old pickup truck where that black truck is there, and then we keep the other 2 cars in the garage. But when it snowed at winter time, you had to basically leave your car at the top because you couldn't get up, could you?
No.
You had to dig it out. Really nice house. Loved it. Served its purpose though for bringing the kids up.
Yeah, it was too big for us when the kids
23,
moved in.
43, but once the kids are gone, we're like peas in a pod rattling around, weren't we?
Yeah.
So we got rid of the house then, and I'll put a link in above here to the vlog that we did when we were leaving. If you want to see what it looks like inside, or what did look
What it did
inside,
look like inside.
we put this around. It's one of our very early vlogs. In fact, one of the first ones we ever did, where we just did a quick walk around as we were checking out and did some memories
Yeah.
of living in that house. Really nice vlog. So in here we have the family room, as the Americans like to call it. So again, take a look around, have a look how the furniture's placed, pictures on the walls, all those type of things. And then that comes through into what we use as the computer room, really. We have all the computer gear here. And it's a seating area, kind of I guess it would have been in the parlour in the old-fashioned days. That leads into the dining room. So in here is more of a formal dining room. I'll put the light on so you can see. This is our dining room. It's now Tuesday, so they came about 1 o'clock and stayed for about 2 hours to do the pictures, drone shots, measure the rooms. The house will go on the market on Friday. So by the time you see this vlog, it should have been on the market, and I'll do a future Barry come in and So what are your feelings now, Max, as you see it from the outside as we're walking past?
Brings back memories. I did love that house, didn't we?
Yeah, but I'm glad it's not like there's no forever house.
No.
And all,
Yeah.
all it brings back memories of me is how much hard work it was.
Well, it was getting to be a lot of hard work.
Every
wasn't it?
weekend we were out here. It was just, you didn't, you know, your life was the house because there was so much land and things to look after. But yeah, we enjoyed our 15 years there. It served its purpose. It brought the kids up safely. That's all you can ask. So as we walk back down the hill, so we can breathe again, which is the hill that we used to take the dog up and down on every day.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching today's vlog. I hope it was insightful into some of our journey here to the US, some of the things we found challenging, some of the things we learnt, lessons learnt as we became Americans, eventually became American citizens. If you have any questions, pop them below. We'll try and answer them as best we can. We're going to go back and meet up with Barry, who we mentioned earlier, for lunch in one of our local restaurants, favourite restaurants, the Timberwood. And then this afternoon, we're going to meet with Jeff and Teresa, some more of our friends, down in another restaurant down here in Charlottesville before we continue the next part of our journey. So thanks for watching. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you like what we do, please like and subscribe. Put your comments below, and we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.